And continuing our coverage here at Infinity Park in Glendale, Colorado, Rugby Town, USA. It's game 10 of the 2018 Rugby Town Sevens. Pool A battle between U.S. Coast Guard and the U.S. Air Force. I'm Brian Vizard along with former Eagles women coach Pete Steinberg. And Pete, should be a dandy and another fantastic military battle in this one.
Absolutely. Both of these teams squeaked through with their first games of the season, first games of the tournament, excuse me, with the Coast Guard edging Navy 17-14 and the Air Force edging the Marines 12-7. So lots to play for in this game, Brian.
Here's our referee, Joey Swatzel out of Texas. He's in charge of this contest. It's going to be Coast Guard going from right to left. And our kick is away. Vinkovic starts things off for Coast Guard. That ball's batted back, knocked on by the Air Force, just outside their 22-meter line. So first break of this contest goes to the Coast Guard.
And I think both teams had scrappy games early on this morning, and they're looking for a little bit more accuracy, but immediately we have the knock-on, so I think there's going to be some disappointment there for the Air Force.
Crouch.
And as we just saw Army, how impressive they are at Pool A. They look almost assured to make it to the final once again. As we talked about in the pregame of the tournament, it's basically who's they going to play in the final of the military championship. There's a nice break by the skipper for this Coast Guard team, Jethro Hauser. He gets brought down but regains possession. Vinkovic gets it out to Brian Yost. That ball went backwards. Referee said play on. Gekas. Good counter ruck. Was the onside? Referee said yeah, it came from the right way. Coast Guard. Air Force with a steal. The long pass back. Finding some space, and again, good converging by this Coast Guard squad. Good early pressure. That was CJ Babytron Johnson with that tackle. And now the Air Force settles things down, finds a little seam in that Coast Guard defense, still on the feet. Did well crossing midfield for the first time. That drive over by Mitchell Couchel. Not rolling away is the penalty.
So I think that was Hauser there. There's been a lot of calls about the breakdown. They're trying to clear it up. But this is a very physical game. We're not seeing Air Force trying to do much except take the ball, see if they can generate some go forward, and see if they can cause an error. Here we go again.
Physical is right, and once again, big power move. Air Force retaining possession.
Backwards, play on.
Mishandle there. Baby Train Johnson gets it back. And again, the scrappy play beat continues.
10,
Coast Guard
not rolling, up your feet.
Awarded the penalty, not rolling away.
10-1.
That time by Malcolm Gilliam. Another wayward pass. The scrappy play continues. Either team finding the rhythm. There's a good defensive play, it looks like, by Air Force coming through. The toe ahead. Playing the man. No, referee said play on. Good contest, and now I think there was a knock-on possibly.
I mean, very messy there. I thought there was a player that played the ball when he was on the floor. I think that there was a knock-on. I mean, I think
maybe playing the man.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. I think the referee went for the easy choice, which is the scrum, and certainly Air Force had the advantage. But neither team here is showing very much. You can see just a little bit on the floor playing with that. He managed to fool the referee on that one.
Coach.
Actually, the referee should have got some help, Brian, from his assistant referee, because he was right there.
Here's Coast Guard putting in. Brian Yost puts it in for the guard coach by Sean Lindersmith. Oh, good counter, good ruck there, but it's going to come away with the Air Force. Air Force going to get the first try of the game. Did he ground it? Did he ground it? That's the question. Babytron Johnson rather, got awfully close. Did he ground it? And with consulting with the AR, he said yes, he did ground it. And it's Air Force that draws first blood.
So I think it's going to be from these errors and these turnovers that there's going to be some opportunities to score. I think that the the play of the teams is going to struggle to be able to create it, but you can see here from the turnover, and just too easy right there. It's so hard to defend. Johnson took the ball, saw the space, went through it. So this leads me, Brian, we should really be thinking territory here. Let's kick down there. Let's put pressure on the opposition. Let's generate some turnovers and see if we can have some try scoring opportunities from that.
CJ Babytron Johnson, the San Antonio back of the year, the San Antonio Rugby Football Club. Been playing the game for 6 years. He's a first lieutenant. Curtis knocks that ball back. Coast Guard hasn't had much possession so far, trying to carry it on the outside. Jutterhauser, Vinkovic, he's the speed of this team. Curtis chips that ball through, but a slight knock on. Vinkovic going to get up slow as well.
Well, Hauser did a great job of being able to use some footwork and dancing down the sideline. He's a guy that's really to watch here for the Coast Guard. He's played for the All Combined Services team 3 times. You can see his class and his skill right there, but ended up again, Brian, with a knock-on. Just very scrappy still by these teams.
Yeah, he's been one of the top players for this Coast Guard team year after year. Coast Guard helicopter rescue swimmer. Good scrum that time by Coast Guard. Ball goes back though. Air Force gets it out wide. Mitchell Kochel. Again, good quick hands, feet on the outside. Johnson. That was Gilliam, rather. At the back of the ruck, Gilliam again with ball in hand. No penalty there. Good counter ruck by Coast Guard, and they're going to win this scrum.
Just right here in the scrum.
Lots of pressure being played at that breakdown, but I'm wondering about the referee and the ability for these players to come through the gate. The breakdown is so messy that it's really difficult for the players to be able to get the ball. And so you can see the counter ruck as they come through. There's one right there, he pulls through, they go again, and that's really caused some problems. And it's right here that the counter ruck comes in. You can see the pressure. And I think there's one more right there, and I think the challenge there is he lost his hands, and that's already been called 3 or 4 times here. And so I think the referee's letting a lot go at the breakdown that we haven't seen it being that easily contested.
Ball comes right back out to the Air Force here. One-on-one on this outside. Vinkovic, a lot of speed with this Coast Guard team. Babytron. The try score. He's the only one who's dotted down in this contest so far, giving Air Force the lead. Now they earn a penalty, not rolling away. Air Force continues to take it quickly. That's Cam Freeman, the skipper of this Air Force squad. Back inside, it's a 3-on-2. Freeman gets it out wide. He's a big man on there, on the outside. Oh, look at the big man, goes inside the 22-meter line. Gonna beat Vinkovic to the try line. Cam Freeman, the skipper of this Air Force squad. Dots down, they're second.
Well, you know, as the game goes on, defenses get tired, and what we saw was a change of direction that created some of the space for Freeman to come through. But even more impressive was a man of his size, Brian, being able to use the footwork to round, makes the break, uses his footwork right here, chops his feet, sets up the defender, and then goes around and scores. And I think that was Brian Yost.
Cam Freeman loves and appreciates what the game of rugby has done for him. And it's the next closest thing to the bonds we have among our brothers and sisters in the service. So the skipper of this Air Force team puts his side out in front, 14-0 now. Coast Guard needs to have some magic as we're in our last minute of play here in the first half.
How much time you guys got left on your watches?
There for a good counter, a good ruck there. But in the process, a knock-on occurred.
Thank you.
So the break's going the Air Force's way here, outside the 22-meter. We still have time for another put-in, trying to add their 3rd try here in the first half.
But I don't think they were going through the gate. I think the referee's someone's gonna have to have a word with him. You can see there's not rolling away, not getting up, and yeah, it caused the knock-on, but I think it was really the defenders causing a lot of problems there, that not clearing out that tackle zone.
Ball goes back to Babytron. The quick feet gets through more defense, high tackle.
12 red, high tackle. Back to
Carlton Marshall with the high tackle there. And here's Babytron again. He's had his hands on the ball a lot here in the first half for this Air Force squad. They're inside the 22-meter line once again. Johnson gets it out wide, just flings a wild pass. Coming on this outside, Darren Siriano. Oh, picked up nicely that time, quickly. Babytron again with his hands on the ball. Good quick fade, again, good power. Gonna get it back. Slower this time, but it is gonna be Air Force. They have a 3-on-3 on this outside flank. Cut back inside. That's Mitchell Kochel.
That's fine.
Air Force doing a great job retaining possession, but it goes out here, stolen by Coast Guard. Jethro Hauser trying to find some inside support. Was that knocked? Yes, it is. Could be a bin. Yes, it's going to be.
And yep, it's a penalty and a yellow card. And Air Force were just too narrow. They kept cutting back inside. They brought all the defenders, and that's going to lead to an interception when you offload. And you said the Coast Guard had needed something, and maybe that's what they need. A score here, Brian, makes the second half very different.
That's Marquez Davis finally makes his way off the field of play. And they get it out to Vinkovic. Vinkovic, too much speed on the outside. Stretching his legs, and is going to get this Coast Guard team on the scoreboard. Trying to get it centered here. 14-5 is the score. Looking for more here as the conversion is going to be the last play of this half. And could that be the magic Coast Guard needed?
Well, you called it, Brian, but I think it all comes down to the Air Force when they had the ball within 10 meters of the Coast Guard line. They kept cutting back inside. At no point did they stretch the field. And when you do that, you attract defenders, which means the offload leads to a turnover. But beautiful timing here, and Vinkovic just away. Just too much pace. I thought great scoring pass by McDaniels right there for the ball to be able to go.
Well, that's going to be it for the half. That conversion was good. 14-7 in favor of the Air Force over the Coast Guard.
The Glendale Raptors are back in action this fall with exhibition matches here at Infinity Park on October 6th and October 13th. Learn more at GlendaleRaptors.com.
And it's halftime. Let's go to the Coast Guard huddle with their coach, Sean Lindersmith.
Right, let's fix it. Right, if you're going to counter us, rock him over, don't worry about the ball. Just keep your feet. And then also secure the ball. Once you blow that guy over, come back and secure the ball, right? Cross the line, 1, 2, 3, Coast Guard! Let's go, boys.
And that was Jethro Hauser, the skipper of this Coast Guard team, trying to rally his troops. They came out in the second half in the first game and got the lead and retained it in that game one, hoping for that same kind of magic here in game two as they're trailing 14-7.
And it was all about the breakdown, and the turnover from the breakdown got the try. And we saw that a lot from Johnson. He had his hands on the ball a lot. And here's Freeman with the great footwork to go around the outside. And I think that was, we thought it was all over there, but a yellow card and some magic on the outside. And that was Vinkovic taking it all the way to score. We've got a game on our hands, another close game. But Brian, having seen Army play, whoever wins here is going to have to raise their game to match that Army game.
They certainly do, and it's going to be Air Force kicking off. They're going to start the second half down a man. And Coast Guard trying to take advantage of it. They did in the waning moments of that first half to score the try. To get within a converted try, there's that skipper, Jethro Hauser. He has been so good. Look at the big man with great footwork on the outside. Looking for that cutback. He's not going to need the help. And it's Jethro Hauser that gets the Coast Guard and trying to center that try, looking for the equalizer. Great start.
There's just not much you can do when you find yourself a player down in sevens. If you're able to move the ball and get outside of that defensive wall, there just aren't enough defenders. And Hauser had two great pieces of footwork, stood up the defender in the line, went around him, and then did it again, going around. They thought he needed to make the pass on the outside, but all he did was he just put his foot down and just outpaced Busby to be able to score. And we are all tied up. And there's only a few seconds left here on the yellow card. Can Coast Guard score again before he comes on, Brian?
Yep, they're trying to take advantage of it. And it looks like some substitutions are taking place. Matthew McDaniels has come off for Coast Guard.
Thank you.
I think the benches are going to be really critical here to see what they can do. And it looks like they're back up to 7. Air Force are back up to 7.
Time's on, guys. Play.
Coast Guard did what they had to do. They had to take advantage of that sin bin. They did, scoring those 2 converted tries. We got a tie ball game. It does go 10 meters. Taken by Ryan Roper of the Air Force. Got away by Ben Apapura. Babytron slings it out wide. That's Marquez Davis. He's got some fresh legs. He just spent the last 2 minutes in the bin. Are they fresh enough? Yes, they are. Trying to make amends for that yellow card. And Marquez Davis dots down to regain the lead for Air Force.
And Marquez Davis did this for Air Force against the Marines, where you have to attack the outside. One of the things, I think, one of the challenges of the attacking structures of almost all the military teams is their desire to cut back inside. But actually, with a little bit of footwork and a bit of pace, there's no defenders on the outside. It's one-on-one here, and just a beautiful move by Davis. Uses his feet, and again, you'll see him just slow down, do a little in and out, goes around the outside and scores. Give him the ball again. Let's give him the ball again, Brian, and let him run.
He's got those legs that are fairly fresh after having spent those minutes in the bin. The conversion attempt was no good, so it's 19-14 now in favor of Air Force. A good reply to those 2 quick tries scored by the Coast Guard. It's going to be Birdie Kwahoy that kicks off here for Air Force. It's going to go 10 meters, and it's going to be taken down by Gekis. Immediately bundled up in the tackle. Air Force quickly again there. Keith Sweetness. Wilkins does well to get away from trouble. There's John Curtis. He's bundled up quickly. And Drew Busby created that turnover, now releasing. And here comes Air Force again, looking for a 4th. And they're going to get it. And increase that lead again, back up to 2 tries.
So it's all about the transition. So really good defense allowed Busby to create the turnover and the penalty. And then from that penalty, Cochelle was able to get that ball and be able to score because the defense isn't connected. And I think for teams like Air Force, that idea of generating the transition from the turnover, and you can see right here, just a little movement, cuts inside, able to finish it very easily because it's so difficult to defend. Cochelle saw what was going, went all the way through. Not much you can do there because you don't have time to build your defensive wall.
10. Yeah.
Another quick reply by Air Force. Widens that lead. The conversion was good, 26-14 now. So Coast Guard find themselves having to score 2 more tries. Once again, Gekis with that tackle, or with a take on that restart.
Fine play on.
Able to pick up, that was fine. Curtis over the top. Shifting the ball out wide is Joe Rosardi. Jethro Hauser trying to find a little seam in that Air Force defense. Coast Guard can look like a turnover ball. No referee said.
6 white entry. Lead it.
Said that Mitchell Conchel entered from the side. Oh, we've seen yellow cards for worse, haven't we?
I think when you pick the ball up and tap it, and you know, I mean, there's no way he thought it was their penalty, but referee let it go.
Jethro Hauser in the tackle. Gets that ball off to Vinkovic. He's the speed on this team, and Air Force know that. They bundle him up quickly. Stolen by Freeman, and again, oh boy, look at that. Just flinging Coast Guard players left and right is the skipper, Cam Freeman. Urges team a full arm penalty. And for Air Force here, you're in no hurry. Maybe kick the touch in this instance. Take off about 30 seconds off the clock, but I think they're looking to run.
Yeah, I agree with you. They need to slow this game down, kick it to touch.
Yeah, it looks like they heard you way up here. Birdie Kwahoy kicks that ball into touch just outside the 22-meter line. Take your time here for Air Force. You're in no hurry to get this line out.
You're in no hurry. They walk up, they take the line out. Even if they lose it, they're still asking 2 scores from the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard have only scored when they've had the player advantage. They have not looked like scoring this half.
Just a minute and a half left in this 10th game out of 62 here on the weekend. 2018 Rugby Town 7. So if you're in the Glendale, Colorado area, come on out. Still plenty of action, plenty of time left. The Bruises and Brews coming on later today and tomorrow. So full weekend of rugby and fun here at Infinity Park.
Let him go, white hands
the
up.
Coast Guard need to score quickly. They need to get 2 tries in under a minute. And one of their star players is down. Here comes one try, it looks like. Gekis Yeah, all alone, 3 Coast Guard players. They need to dot down, get this conversion quickly, get back in the field of play. And that was dotted down by Joseph Rosardi.
I mean, DeGecker's not one to run the last 40 meters there, Brian. I mean, the only person that was near him was the referee, and I don't think the referee's outfits are the same. So we have a game on, right? We have a game on. They're going to need to win this kickoff back. All came, and there's Sean Linda Smith-Snacks, former manager for the men's Eagles, long-time USA Rugby character, I think is what we would call him.
All right, here's the restart, the all-important restart. Roper wants it, it's batted back, but it looks like Air Force is going to claim it. That was huge. There wasn't the support that Coast Guard needed. Oh, they got to converge on him. There's not a whole lot of time here. Oh, and look at Marquez Davis. Just froze that Coast Guard defense, and Davis is going to get his second try of the game, and that's going to ice it for Air Force. They're going to improve to 2-0, but as you said, with Army looking the way they are, they're going to have to up their game.
They are, but players like Davis, they've got the athletes that can do the job. They just have to improve their execution. And of course, one of the hardest things to do is to teach the defense not to mimic the attack. So if the attack slows down, what you teach the defenders is don't plant your feet, keep them moving. But Davis did a great job. He slowed down, the defense slowed down, and then he was able just to, everyone just stops because the defense stops. Davis goes slow, and then when he goes quick, he's quicker than anyone else that the Coast Guard has. And I think they played better in the second half. That I think the Air Force really improved, but you're right, Brian. They have a long way to go for them to be able to meet Army's quality.
Well, that's going to do it, folks. The conversion was good, and it's the Air Force improving to 2-0 with a 33-21 victory over the Coast Guard.